The Trump and Vance lies on FEMA are going to kill their MAGA cultist. Chris Graham here for Augusta Free Press. So, smart MAGA, and there are plenty of smart people who are in the MAGA movement. They think it's uproarious that Donald Trump and JD Vance are fear mongering their dimwit followers into thinking that FEMA is the enemy. It's all fun and games in the name of winning an election. That's the operating theory. Problem is, real lives are being impacted here. This situation is actually breaking up our family, a caller into the Dan Abrams Show on SiriusXM said on Wednesday, quoting from the caller who identified himself as Anthony. My father-in-law lives just outside of Asheville, North Carolina, and he was badly damaged by Hurricane Helene. And he has refused all FEMA help because he's a hardcore Trumper. He literally believes that if he accepts anything from FEMA, they're going to take his house. This is real life here, people. More quotes from Anthony. It's hard to even imagine it. He lost almost everything, and he's refusing help from the federal government. And he's complaining to us he doesn't have food, that he doesn't have the stuff he needs, and yet he won't accept the help. This is the world we live in. Trump and Vance don't like to be fact-checked, and TV broadcasters disguised as news networks that are actually far-right propaganda machines do their bidding for them. Now, it's one thing when it's, hey, the Democrats staged a coup on Joe Biden. That's a victimless lie. Um, but it's another thing entirely when it involves absurd lies about FEMA running out of money because the money either went to migrants or to Ukraine, that the federal government can somehow control the weather and armed Hurricane Helene on a path in the southeast to try to keep Republican voters from being able to get out of the polls. Just stuff that's off the top of your head crazy. It's not enough that most of us know that these are bald-faced, just plain dumb lies, because plenty of people, bless their hearts, they just don't know. Vice President Kamala Harris addressed this misinformation gap in an interview with CNN on Wednesday. Quote, leaders on the ground who know that it is not in the best interest of the people living in these areas to not know their rights, to not know that they're entitled, to not know what they're entitled to, and to be afraid of seeking help. It is dangerous. It is unconscionable, frankly, that anyone who would consider themselves a leader would mislead desperate people to the point where those desperate people would not accept the aid to which they are entitled. Now, even Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who's not exactly woke, if you know what I'm saying here, he's frustrated with this misinformation. He called out the, quote, crap online at a press conference on Wednesday. FEMA is not leading this show. He said this addressing rumors that people shouldn't evacuate ahead of the arrival of Hurricane Milton because FEMA security teams wouldn't let them back into their homes. We are leading this show in the state of Florida, DeSantis said. We're marshaling whatever assets are available to us. We're leveraging that. But certainly with people evacuating, in my executive order I put in on Saturday, the default is you have a right to immediately return to your home following the storm. And then he said, listen, I think most people are wise to this. I think he overestimates, but he said that. Another quote, we live in an era where if you put out crap online, you can get a lot of people to share it. You can monetize that. That's just the way it is. So you've got MAGAs putting out, quote, crap online to monetize the eyeballs they get for their crap online. You've got politicians spreading the crap because they think it will win them a few more votes. Now, most people are wise to this. DeSantis said it. I've emphasized it here. But in the meantime, you've also got people not evacuating with a historic storm bearing down on them and other people who don't have food or shelter as a result of the last historic storm. They're refusing help because people making money with lies and the people trying to scare up votes with lies have them afraid that the help will be worse than riding out a hurricane or starving to death. We've sent him all the FEMA bulletins. This is the guy, Anthony, back on the Dan Abrams Show. We've sent him all the stuff from the fact checkers. He doesn't believe it. He thinks he just believes Trump literally, Dan. It's a cult. He's a cult member. I'm sorry to say it. He's a cult member. He's my father-in-law, and it sucks. It does suck. For more, go to AugustaFreePress.com. More national news, local news for Augusta County, Stanton, Waynesboro, Virginia, Virginia news, sports news. If you have a news tip for me, if you have a news idea, anything you want to just discuss, please feel free to drop me an email at chris@AugustaFreePress.com.